Let's jump straight into it then.
Yeah.
So Michael, just talk to me about how life's changed since you've signed with the UFC. What surprised you the most?
I wouldn't even say anything surprised me, to be fair. I think my experience with Jimmy Warhead, like being in his corner for the UFC, seeing how they operated, I can't remember how that was probably about 10 years ago. Even back then I was wowed with like how efficient they are, how on point they are. But I've just got to see and experience, obviously myself now, but experience more of it. They're extremely efficient. It's so much more professional. Literally felt like I've gone to a new football team, and they're showing me around the PI and this and that, and just what comes with the UFC. That's probably not talked enough about. Is amazing, and I'm looking forward to when they hopefully get something over here as well, so we have something a bit more accessible on this side of the world. But it's amazing what they can provide, how tight the team is as well. Like a lot of these guys are like, I've been here 20 years, I've been here 15 years. You can tell they all know each other really well. And yeah, it's just smooth, man, smooth transition.
That's beautiful. What about life outside of the UFC? How's that changed for you?
For me, it's always difficult. I'd say obviously more people are recognizing you. I'm getting that little bit more respect for being, finally having my name attached to the UFC. The normal sponsorships and so on and so forth. They're coming a bit thick and fast comparatively to before. But in terms of, I'm always just one that just keeps my head down. I have the same friends and family around me. That forces me to keep my head down and keep my head on straight. So yeah, it's pretty much the same outside of a few odd things. But yeah, other than that, I'm trying to stay the same.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Your last fight, Garry, obviously lost the decision. How do you reflect on that now with some time passed?
For me, it's more looking at the mistakes, looking at the build-up. There's a couple of things that people won't know about in the build-up, and I think that's for every fighter. Nobody understands what's going on behind closed doors in the build-up to these fights and these occasions. And then it's just analysing those things, making the necessary changes to make sure I can avoid certain things from happening again, and then just do bigger, just keep pushing forward. Because it's weird, because I keep saying this as well, my journey is always supposed to be my journey, regardless of whether people think I won or lost a fight. I'm not talking about that one, I'm talking in general. Regardless, every time I have lost a fight, I've just grown more, I've grown bigger, and I've gotten better, and I've surpassed the person that has beaten me. And I feel my journey is supposed to be my journey, whether it was Storley, I'd continue to go to the UFC, whether it was Mike Perry, I've continued to grow in the UFC and do, attract more, do bigger, do better. I think it's always the same, bro. Whatever happens in there is supposed to happen, in my opinion, and it's written for me. But I know I'm going to continue working hard, adjusting, and then just until I get to that top.
Yeah, it sounds like with that mindset that you wouldn't go back and change anything. You're kind of happy with how things are going.
100%. Like I said, you can learn from it, but there's no point being dwelling too much on the past, on things that you can't change. I always like to spend time in areas that I can actually affect change, and that is what I can do moving forward, not being too worried or bothered about what's happened in the past. So 100%, that was supposed to happen, and then allowed me to learn, continue, and adjust, and just get better, man.
Well, yeah, you mentioned growth, and obviously you've just defeated Carlos Condit at Polaris. Another milestone in growth, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
How proud are you of that victory?
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was a necessary thing for me to do. I didn't orchestrate it that way, but like I said, after coming off that loss, I said to myself, I want to focus on jiu-jitsu, I want to focus on grappling, and I have been. And then this opportunity of Polaris, they hit me up like, oh, would you be interested to do that? You know what? Why not? It just how things have aligned for me. I've gone out and done it, and I definitely, even just in the build up to this, comparatively to like the UFC fights, there was just no pressure. I just felt like myself again, my old self, just chilling, ready to enjoy something on show though. And I think that was the most important thing for me, is just to reflect on how I used to feel. And now moving forward, that's how I'm going back into the fight again. It just reminded me how I used to be going into fights, and that's where I'm going to be most dangerous.
That's amazing, man. Talk to me a little bit about Khamzat Chimaev, right? Because he's just come off a pretty flawless victory with Robert Whittaker. And I know you've actually spent some time with Khamzat, training in Dubai. Did you see the fight going like that?
To be fair, no, not in that fashion at all. But I have to say, I was so impressed with Khamzat, not because of the finish. Everyone's like gonna talk about like the finish, which was spectacular, obviously, but because of how patient he was. And although he does his usual and got the takedown quite early, he didn't seem like he's normally like Crash Bandicoot round one, like just non-stop going crazy. This time he seemed more composed. He's in positions, he's picking his shots like that. Khamzat could go 5 rounds. A Khamzat like that could go 5 rounds, and that's dangerous for anybody in that division. That Khamzat there, it was impressive to see his growth and intelligence in that fight. Although it was a shorter fight, I could definitely see that being a problem for everybody. The fight that we saw against Usman, where he's going crazy, if he was like that, I think that would have been a very, very different result. It wouldn't be close. I think he would have found a finish potentially as well. So yeah, and again, I'm a massive fan of Whittaker, man. So it's a shame. It's always a shame to see when you see 2 people that you like. But yeah, Khamzat is just an absolute beast, man.
Yeah. When
you get to obviously seeing people from your couch or even in the arena, you get a certain taste, but when you're there watching them train, you see how special somebody is. And the same way I find a lot of people respond to me when they see me kickboxing in the gym and striking in the gym. They're like, wow, they can kind of see a different element of me, that little special gene that I can provide striking. It was the same watching him wrestle. It was the same he's just a beast, man, like an absolute animal. Scary dude, but a cool dude. Yeah, man, I was inspired, like re-inspired, like seeing that, and I'm like, yeah, I need to do more work. Like it was great. It was great to watch, man. He's unbelievable. Let's get to the juice of this conversation then. Shara Bullet recently called you out. What made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up about that? In fact, sorry, you called Shara Bullet out. My apologies. No, he just he came off a very spectacular win. I rate his striking. It was cool. I was watching. I literally watched it. We actually did a reaction on it, so I watched the fight. Then he called out my boy, but actually, weirdly enough, after doing the reaction, I didn't actually watch the interview, so I didn't hear it until after the fact. When he called out my boy, I was like, nah, leave my guy alone, like. And I was like, I'll handle this, because I just think it's a great fight. It's most likely going to be a striking fight, and I see myself as the best striker in the UFC.
If you were to break down his striking, how do you break that down?
I'd say unpredictable. Very fast, but a bit unpredictable, because some of the angles and some of the stuff that he throws, like that double, obviously it seemed like he's trained that before, but certain things like that, he looks like a kind of guy that doesn't even know what he's going to throw next, which makes it harder for his opponents to kind of figure out and work out and time and try to draw things out, because he's throwing some crazy stuff. So but yeah, spectacular guy, and I'm just looking forward to hopefully sharing the cage with him and just putting on an epic striking performance just for the world to see.
Well, we actually spoke to Shara, and we asked him a few questions about you. First question we were speaking to him was about who would you rather have out of Paulo Costa and
MVP. I see that. Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, MVP, seems like a cooler dude.
Yeah.
Got better striking. What do you make to that?
Oh no, man, that's thank him for like just kind of having that respect and appreciation of my striking. And that's I think true martial artists can, regardless of potentially someone being an opponent, you can be, if you're a true martial artist, you can be honest about what you see. I hate when people lie to themselves. They're like, yeah, he's not good at this and he's not good at that. It's like, bro, you're a martial artist. You can see that someone's good at something, and the fact that he says it shows he's a true martial artist. And I agree with him in the sense that Paolo's known to, you know, not always turn up at the end, whether it's just an unfortunate coincidence or not. So I get why he'd say, yeah, I'm 100% going to be there. You know what I mean? In my last fight, I had a few injuries quite later on, and I was like, I ain't pulling out this fight. I'm going in there. So I had to wrap my ankles. I'm like, we're going to make this happen. So yeah, I'm 100% gonna be there regardless. He
also had a reply for you saying, I think I'm gonna make him shoot. He said that he would never leave his game plan. He said, you're gonna be the one that's on the floor. So does this just mean this fight's just gonna be fireworks?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. I hope so. But at the same time, like for me, the amount of times people have spoken about how they're gonna knock me out, they're gonna do this, and they're the biggest striker, and the same thing happens over and over again. It's been, you know, the likes of Paul Daly, the likes of the Ian Garrys. There's so many people that are like, yeah, I can strike, and then they want to grab me because it's just different when I'm in front of you. It's very, very different, and it's just like, you know what? Let me grab him. At the same time, I honestly believe he's gonna be. He's 14 or 15 0. He's gonna be very confident in his ability to strike. He doesn't seem like he's like amazing on the floor. I'm sure he's capable. It doesn't seem amazing on the floor, so why would you go there? So I agree. It's going to be fireworks up until the fire's gone one way, and then maybe he might make a few different decisions. But if he doesn't, perfect. Let's just make it a standout fight.
Yeah.
On the UFC game, there's a stand and bang thing. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
That's a brilliant look. Shara's got a really unique look about him. He's like, it looks like a Bond villain. Yeah. Right? And like, I know you love marketing fights. You always 100%. Come to a fight with an angle. How do you think you would like approach this fight from a marketing perspective when you go in against somebody that calls himself the Pirate?
I got so much. I got so much, man. Like, yeah, we were already like thinking about it. It's like if this fight gets confirmed, it's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna have some fun with it. But again, it's all fun and games regardless. The most important thing is what happens in the cage.
Yeah.
But 100%, you know me, I like to like make a few jokes, have a little bit of fun, but it is just that. It's all fun and games. It's all marketing, just to make it fun and exciting for both sides, but also the crowd. But like I said, there's nothing but respect, and again, both seem like he seems like a true martial artist. I'm a true martial artist, so regardless of me having little digs here and fun, it's all respect.
Yeah, awesome.